Carolina on the ride. Carolina on the rise.
What's going on, Panther Nation? Keep pounding. Bill Mack here with another edition of the Panther Prowl. Glad you folks could join me for another video as I give you my previews and reviews each week of our beloved Carolina Panthers. And thank you folks for joining me here as we are coming off the rather disappointing loss to the Chicago Bears. And now we are headed to Tampa Bay. Yes, we are playing our divisional foes, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this will be a test for, once again, for our offense and what can we do to slow down the tempo and the rushing game of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Panther Nation, it was just a rough game, as I said in my review of the Chicago game. It was very disappointing. We've done a few things this week so far, midweek here, as I'm getting this video out to you. Like I said, some things could change over the course of the week, but I'm getting the video out to you today. So let's just jump right into the tail of the tape between our teams here. Our Carolina Panthers are 4-3. They are 3-1 away, which is a good thing. Winning away is a good thing for us, and being away, which are 5 of our last 8 games are, of course, are going to be at home. So we've got to kind of pick up the pace at home as well as away, but we are playing away pretty good so far this season. We're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 2-4. They are 2-1 at home, so this will be their 4th game at home. So let's just try to put some points on the board against them. Now this week, even though Tampa Bay is 2-4, ESPN is giving Carolina only a slim 37% chance in winning. Of course, with our offense scoring the last couple of weeks, or lack thereof, scoring that they have done, that it doesn't looking too good. So I can understand why the slim chance of winning in Tampa Bay. Cam is 148 of 231 attempts, 1687 yards, 9 TDs to 10 interceptions. So steadily, that is looking probably one of his statistically worst seasons so far to date. Jay Stu, of course, 99 carries, 295 yards, still yet to reach into the end zone for a touchdown. And of course, we got Kelvin Benjamin, of course, 29 for 436 yards, 1 TD. So as we can see, the least touchdowns thrown, the least our receivers are going to have in receiving. Over on the flip side, Tampa Bay, of course, Jameis Winston's 131 of 208, 1643 yards, 10 TDs, 4 interceptions. So a lot more precise with him than with Cam. Doug Martin has 47 carries for 176 yards, 2 TDs. And Mike Evans is 47 catches, 176 yards. And he has, of course, matching 2 touchdowns. So, of course, I have Mike Evans in my fantasy league. Here is the injury report. That's what so far. Now, this, take in mind, Panther Nation, this is only, like I said, this is a midpoint of the week, so it could change before game time. Kuechly was practicing as of Wednesday, but he is still not out of concussion protocol as of yet. That may be different, or they may choose to set him out another game. It remains to be seen. Gano has stressing some kind of knee injury, which he was talking about last week, so as much that he is questionable. It still remains to be seen. Of course, Ryan Khalil, he re-injured his neck again last week against Chicago, and Trey Turner still is questionable. So Khalil may not play, Turner may not play. Gano, once I get to the transactions here in just a few minutes and things that's happened this week, we should know more about it hopefully by game time. So here are our transactions. What has happened this week to try to counter some of the things setbacks that the Panthers have experienced. They waived Austin Duke, a wide receiver off the practice squad, which had a really good preseason, but he didn't really, or practices, but it really didn't transition to the preseason, and he hasn't really been much any factor in games. So he was waived. Roberto Aguayo, I guess that's his name. Aguayo, that's what it is. Roberto Aguayo, which if you any Panther fan knows, excuse me, from the division. He used to be with the division rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if any of those Panther fans remember him as well, he played with the ACC with Florida State. This dude misses a ton of field goals, and I'm going to get in that in just a few minutes when I create my when I get into my keys to the win for a win. But he was signed, and we also claimed wide receiver Kalen Clay. And now he was from the Buffalo Bills. We claimed him off waivers to try to be hopefully a threat for Cam to kind of open up the field because our wide receivers aren't the fastest, and we'll get into that more as well. Here are the stats coming into the game. Tampa Bay, of course, leads our Panthers in points per game. Tampa Bay scores 24.2. The Panthers only 18.7. I allow points per game, of course, our Panthers being a top 5 defense that they are, have allowed just under 20 points a game at 19.9 compared to 25.2, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also lead total yards per game. They have just over 400, averaging 402 yards a game at 402.7. Panthers only scoring, having 340.7 points per game. But of course, for Carolina, like I said, our defense, total points allowed, we've only give up at least an average of 281.6 compared to Tampa Bay, 415. So in Tampa Bay's case, you see them scoring, gaining a lot of yards, but giving up way more yards. As our Panthers, our defense kind of is keeping us in where we're at, because for us to get a score 340, we're only giving up 281. So we can see our defense is really being the hammer of our team. And our last game, of course, like I mentioned early in the video, our Panthers lost 17-3 in Chicago and Soldier Field in an ugly game. Their defense was basically what kept us in it. Cam, of course, Panthers had 2 costly turnovers, of course, that were turned into one a pick six, another for a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Both plays going over 75 yards each. Our Panthers defense not giving up any other points other than a field goal. So, like I said, our defense is what's the hammer for our team. Here are my Panther keys to a win. This goes to the Carolina offense. The O-line must protect Cam, and that's important to stress. And the thing is that the O-line has to create holes for our wide receiver, for our running backs, and for rushing, because Cam cannot continue being the leading rusher for our team, and our team scoring less than 100 yards in rushing, where we are supposed to be a ground and pound, smash them in the mouth running team. But by the offensive line, and mind you, and understand, say, Bill, well, we've got injuries. Exactly. I'm well aware of the injuries that we have sustained. Like I said, we lost Turner. Turner was down. Khalil's re-injured again. Khalil has been basically a disaster. Not Matt Khalil now, not Ryan. Matt Khalil has been a disaster. But hey, Panther Nation, we knew that there was a lot of talk around the league even before the season about how we overpaid him and how kind of inconsistent that he is. He's not allowing Cam to drop back. Most of the sacks are coming on his side. So we paid, like Panther GMs usually do, pay way too much, but don't get really any investment off their any withdrawals off their investment. So, needless to say, our O-line has to create. They've got to protect Cam. Cam can't spend time running around all the time because they're not giving him enough time. The pocket's collapsing on Cam. Our backs have got to pick up the blocks. We've got to keep Cam upright. And Cam can't continue throwing picks and trying to make things work when it can't. Cam doesn't have the footwork, and he can't throw strong like he wants to. He can't float passes like he needs to in the short pass. That's how come a lot of times passes end up getting dropped. They're overthrown. Also, too, is I can't blame it all on Cam. One of the major things, as I pointed out in the Chicago game, which I did watch a 247 Sports Carolina Panthers live stream today, and the dude was taking questions, and a lot of people in the chat were basically talking about Shula's play calling, and he himself was talking. The dude was doing the interview was talking about Shula and some questionable calls, like rushing when you didn't have to rush or need to rush, or trying something different. He wasn't doing that. I'm for one and was not for Shula being the offense coordinator. I knew last season he should have been let go, and I was still surprised this season. But if they don't get together and come up with a formidable plan and use Christian McCaffrey, which is why they drafted him, no, he's not going to be our every down back. We already knew that. That's what Stewart's for. But if you can't utilize this piece of the puzzle as much as even Curtis Samuel, which Samuel, of course, had that catch last week that glanced off his hands into the hands of Eddie, I believe Eddie Jordan or Eddie Johnson was his name, the guy from defensive guy from Chicago, and he hasn't really been doing as much. But you've got to utilize these guys. You've got to have some kind of offense. You can't run the same cookie cutter offense and expect it to work. It's not going to work. You've got to utilize these weapons. These weapons were there and put in place for Cam to take the pressure off Cam. He's still getting sacked. And dumb play calling with the running backs, a lot of people just are questioning. So try to call a good game, Shula. Good or bad, you're still on the hot seat. Don't think just because you have one good game or a few good games. I'm not a bandwagon guy. I was always against Shula. Didn't think he needed to be. A lot of people think maybe a West Coast offense might work. It might, but remember, Cam doesn't have touch on his passes. He can't do a lot of short passes. He's more of a deep, strong arm, and he throws off that back foot, and you can't get no power or stability when you do that. But that's how Cam throws, and no matter how much Ken Dorsey still has not worked with him on that, so it's just not going to be done until changes need to be. But don't want to waste too much time on the offense. But needless to say, why I do Panther Nation, as you possibly know as well, is our defense. Just keep doing what you're doing. You didn't allow any touchdowns last week. All you allowed was a field goal. That game should have been 3-3, not 17-3. But Panther defense, you're in the top 5 in total defense, top rushing defense. That's what the key matchup for Bill Mack's key matchup for this week will be: the Panthers' high-powered rushing defense against the Tampa Bay's high-powered rushing offense. That's where our tail of the tape is going to be. Are we going to be able to close the holes, the gaps? Are we going to be able to force pressure and shut down that running game and make Jameis Winston beat us? That's what they're going to have to do. But as far as what's been going on with the defense, you're doing all you can do, defense. Panther defense, I salute you. You've been carrying the offense the whole season long. You just keep doing what you're doing. And last but not least, I never really have to mention this, but this goes to the Carolina special teams. Just a minute. Okay, Panther special teams. Please, whoever has kicking duties, please just do what you've got to do. If you've got to be sharp and be consistent, that means extra points, make your extra points. Any field goals, when you have the opportunity arises, try to make your field goals. Now, like I said, Gallo, he's from Florida State. He's from Tampa Bay. I don't have any confidence whatsoever. And also, this is what was so upsetting to me, especially I posted it on my Facebook page, Panther Nation, is so we drafted Harrison Buckner. We keep him on the roster, 53-man roster. Then we end up trading him away or waiving him. Then Gano is hurt. Then we sign a dude that I have less confidence in than anybody in the whole league when it comes to kicking duties because of what he's missed. How smart is that? Wouldn't it have been better to keep that kicker now that we needed him, a rookie kicker that we've had that was doing just as good as Gano was and younger, and he could have filled in for that and been the one in the future. See, that's what happens. Of course, saluting you, Panthers front office, for making these moves, and you, GM Hurney, for what you're doing. I just applaud you, sir. I mean, I knew this. I'm just so glad. Hopefully, you're just only the interim GM, and let's hope, Panther Nation, that we get a GM that we can actually feel like is going to give and make decisions what's best for the Panthers and their organization, and make wise decisions. As we've seen, a lot of our drafts haven't turned out well. You know, we've lost the last couple seasons. We just not have had anyone that we've drafted turn out. You know, with Butler, you know, haven't seen him much on the line. Moten, haven't seen him much on the line. You know, Worley and Bradbury are doing pretty good. They're still coming along. Haven't really gave up. But, you know, Sanchez with the drafts, with the squad, then Buckner drafted, even though they got rid of him. We've just got to do better. But Panther Nation, have no fear. We're gonna come back. I've got faith. This is a division game, very important, and we've got to win this game, and it's a rival of ours as well. So let's just know that Panther Nation is going to go, and they're going to go on the prowl this coming weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So after the game, until I can post my review video of the game, this is Bill Mack, Panther Prowl, saying, keep pounding.
Yeah.